Good evening, everyone, for this wonderful webinar. The topic blockchain and its future and power of positive thinking. Present by Mr. Thomas Arul and co-founder of Gloomy Inc. USA, Mr. Nixon A. Edward, SPP Technology, Amrisave Mortgage Corporation USA, Mr. Prithviraj Duraraj, Chief Architect, Software Engineer, Amrisave Mortgage Corporation USA. Let us begin this webinar session with a prayer song presented by Dr. M. Krishnan, Assistant Professor, St. Joseph College, Autonomous Trichy, and prayer followed by Hilary Mary, First MSc Data Science. Let us bow down our heads and pray.
கருவாகி உருவாகி இணையாண்டு காத்தருளும் இறைவா நன்றி. எங்கும் இறைந்தோனே எல்லை இல்லாதானே, எங்கேயும் எப்போதும் என் குலம் காப்பவனே. நெஞ்சம் துணியே துணையாய் வருவார், நேர்மறை உணர்வுகள் பெருகிடச் செய்வாய். உடலில் உறுதியை பெரிதாய் தருவாய், உனை உணரும் சுற்றமனைத்தும் காப்பவனே, செய்தொழிலில் ஏற்றம் தருபவனே, எடுத்த செயலில் வெற்றி கொண்டு என் ஆற்றல் பெருகிட அருளை கொடு. கருவாகி உருவாகி இணையாண்டு காத்தருளும் இறைவா நன்றி. வல்லமை தந்து நீ வளர்ச்சி கொடு, அகத்திலும் புறத்திலும் மலர்ச்சி கொடு. வளர்ச்சி கொடு, வளர்ச்சி கொடு, வளர்ச்சி கொடு, வளர்ச்சி கொடு.
Almighty and ever-loving Father, we adore you, praise you, and thank you. Almighty and ever-loving Father, we adore you, praise you, and thank you for all your goodness. We are gathered here for this webinar. Send us your Holy Spirit to be our guide and give us the wisdom to understand each and every topic that we are going to discuss. Enlighten our minds and let your love be upon us. All this we pray through our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Now I request our head in charge of data science, Dr. L. Aro Kim, to deliver the welcome address.
Yeah. Good morning and good evening. Dear Mr. Bert Mr. Thomas, Mr. Arakyam, Mr. Nixon, and other core committee members of this program, which is organized as a sequence of programs, which consists of sequence of programs. I'm happy to welcome you all to this webinar. I'm really thankful agreed to give lectures on the recent topics, sharing their experiences along with the core concepts which they have chosen. I'm happy to welcome the participants from St. Joseph's, participants from other institutions. It's a great pleasure to have you all together, past students and the present students together, along with the other participants participating in this webinar. St. Joseph's is really proud of you, dear alumni, for your contribution that you are making regularly in the form of sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience. I'm really happy to welcome the resource persons today for today's program, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Nixon, Mr. Arakyaraj. Each one of them, I do remember each one of them by the unique characteristics, uniqueness that they have in them. I appreciate the department members for organizing this program. On behalf of the department and on my own behalf, I welcome every one of you who are all participating in this program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. Batram F. Joseph, sir, to introduce the chief guest.
Thank you, Harini. Hello. Okay. Good. Good evening and good morning to everyone. I would like to introduce Thomas Arul. He's my classmate. He did his BSc Computer Science during 1988 to 91. So those days are very greenish days and a lot of fun we had. And Thomas Arul is a great entrepreneur. He's great an explorer and businessman, and he's a great public speaker, and he's a great comedian. Okay, he's a very lively person. If you want to laugh out loud, just talk to him. You'll have wonderful fun. You will keep laughing. So he's such a lively person. Okay, so he's here to give us his experience on blockchain, the latest technologies. The technology is growing fast in those areas. So he's going to give us and walk us through that. Thank you, Thomas, for joining us and taking your valuable time and bringing us and all your talents and your knowledge to the students. And the other person is Nixon. Nixon also from St. Joseph's, same batch, 1988 to 91. He also did his MSc Computer Science with us. And he's a senior VP in Amerisave mortgage company. So senior VP is a leadership position in a corporate company. He's or we can say he's an executive vice president. That means he is reporting directly to the CEO of the company. They are the people, they give the leadership and the directions to the company to sustain and grow the company in all through all these challenges. So, so we are so happy to have uh, Nixon with us to share his experience. He's going to talk about the positive thinking, the power of positive thinking. So today's world, we all need that, the positive thinking. How do we take it? So he's going to give us insights, and he's going to share his own experience with us. Thank you, Nixon, for coming. And the next person is Arakiraj. Arakiraj is he is also from Amerisave Mortgage Company. He's a chief architect in the engineering, the software engineering. And when he's from the same batch with us, 1988 to 91, and then he did his MSc Computer Science. We used to call him a mini computer. Even the first seminar we had, the presenter Rajesh talked about him a lot. So Arakiraj. So even every person coming from our batch, they'll be talking about him because he made such a great impact to all the students in our batch. So we call him mini computer. You would know now. So he has great logical skills, the programming skills, the way he writes the program, amazing. So even those days. So we are very happy to have Arakiraj with us to share his experience with us. Thank you, Arakiraj. And also, just one more note about Thomas Arul. Thomas Arul, he started his own company. It grown big, and he sold the company to somebody else. Now he started another company on blockchain, and that's where he is now. And he is a friend of our Vice President Kamala Harris. Okay, so he has some close relationship with him, meaning friendship with her. Okay, so with that, I welcome everyone, all the presenters, the valuable presenters here to walk us through their experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Bud, for the wonderful introduction. Hope you can see my screen. My name is Thomas Arul. I live in Boston. As Bud said, I studied in the 1988 to 91 batch. So today I'm going to talk about blockchain and kind of explain the key concepts of blockchain. So I'll take around 40 minutes to go over the concepts. If you have any questions, you can feel free to chat to me. I'll try to answer at the end of the session. Okay. So I think you can all see my screen, no? But can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our class, 1988 to 91. I think you can see. I think everyone is here, birth and all. I know, like many of you guys there, we were there with a lot of aim, aspirations, a lot of doubt. I think one thing I would say is that all the classmates have made it successfully in companies. So that time, like you, we were like, we didn't know it was, studying computer science. We didn't know the future, but it was to say that we almost all succeeded in working in top companies in the US, India, and across the world. So I'm proud of my batch. The only difference from then and us is 30 years back, this picture was taken. Probably we are 30 pounds heavier, but otherwise we are the same people. Okay. So I think Bud gave a very good introduction about me, so I'll skip my introduction. Can you see the screen fully? I think I need to change. Yeah. Okay. So Gartner, I think blockchain is a new concept. It's been there for 5-6 years in the mainstream. Like how internet was very prevalent in the 1990s and 2000. Gartner says that blockchain will deliver $3 billion value by 2030. So it's good to always pick up a new technology and get going because there's more value in that. Okay, so I know there's two types of system. We're all familiar with the centralized system, where the central system, whether it's a client server or the internet, or you go to Amazon or you shop anyway. There's always a centralized system where there's one authority, and they dictate what to do. Like if like you logging into Gmail, Google can say stop it, or it can go down. Those are the centralized system which we all familiar and we are used to. But blockchain is a completely different paradigm shift. It's decentralized. There's no one central authority. No one can stop it. So that means that the technology is distributed, and it's there everywhere. The same code piece is there everywhere. There's no one control. One person can control. So whatever you do in blockchain, it's completely decentralized. There's no one single authority. So that's good and bad. The good thing is that no government, no one can stop it. It is keep growing. As long as you have a computer and you have that code, we can start running it. But bad thing is that whatever goes into blockchain cannot be taken because there's no central authority. I can't say shut down Bitcoin or shut down. I can ban it, block it, but it is still going to, as long as you have a computer and you have access, it's going to keep running. So that is a decentralized system. Okay. And in one thing in decentralized system is that every participant has history of the transactions, So if you have a centralized server, when you go to Amazon or you put a record in the database it is there, and the authority can only have access to it. But in a decentralized system, you put a record, everyone who has the blockchain has access to that. So it's completely decentralized. So a look at what is a blockchain technology and how it works. So blockchain is basically a decentralized ledger of all transactions across the network. So I would imagine it's like a big database where everyone has a copy of the database. So you can imagine that. And once you put an entry in the database, you cannot remove it. It's all the thing. Example, if I do a transaction in the blockchain, that same transaction is available for everyone. You might not see the entire, like the substance of the transaction, but at least the record of the transaction. So that's why it's very secure. You cannot remove any transaction. And once it's committed, it's gone to everyone, and everyone has a copy. So these are things which is a little different than a traditional ones where central authority can change something. So the one other thing is that it's very secure. No one can tamper proof. Like example, voting or there's a financial record. It works automatically. There's no one to control it, alter it. It can't be broken. So that is the advantage of it. Like example, if there's 10,000 copies of the code running in everyone's computer, if I put entry, that same entry is going to be available in Bert's computer or Nixon's computer or Akra's computer or everyone's computer. So no one can come and dispute that, hey, you know what, this guy didn't do this transaction. So that's why it's very secure. It's something very innovative and very new. So how it works, basically, if someone requests a transaction, okay, the transaction is sent to the network, and there are a lot of validators who validate the transaction. And once the transaction is validated, there could be a contract done, a smart contract done, and then it can be executed. Once it's done, a new block is added to the blockchain, and then the transaction is completed. So basically, you send a request, and there's a couple of pieces of code that is there which works to execute the transaction. It validates the transaction. Then once the transaction is done, a new block is added to the blockchain, and the transaction is completed. So the thing is that you might think, hey, what is going to happen? Because you have a history. If like example, what is happening is right now in the blockchain, like the older blockchain, the data is huge. It keeps on, you keep on adding millions of records. So it kind of slows down the blockchain, as well as the cost of adding some block is expensive. So I'll come to that. So some of the older blockchains are very, very slow to process some transaction. So that's why some new innovative blockchains have come. I'll talk about that. Okay. So this is the way, fundamentally, this is the way the blockchain works. You put a transaction, it gets validated, it executes some piece of code, then finally a block is written, the transaction is completed. So what is a blockchain technology word. It's secure, as I said. You cannot tamper proof, and there's no single point of failure. So with the current system, like you have seen, hey, the Google went down, Microsoft went down, but blockchain, it the day it started, it has not gone down because you can't take it down because there's no single point of failure. And it's also transparent. All the information is transparent because the block is all transparent. But sometimes what you can do is you can have information on a block which you could encrypt, because otherwise all information, like example, you might do a transaction that, hey, so and so did a transaction, but the amount and what is in the transaction, that can be encrypted, so you don't have to worry about that. It can reduce the cost. There's no third party involvement. So one of the things is that a lot of the governments and everyone is worried about the blockchain because it's like a wildfire. There's no one person to control it. It's all the transactions are trusted. There's only unalterable. You can only enter, copy, you can't do it. As well as you get a real-time tracking. Like say, suppose if there's a transaction happened in China in a specific blockchain, that transaction is available for everyone to see. So that is these are some of the key features of the blockchain technology. So there is two different types of blockchain. I think I want to just, one is proof of work, then it's proof of stake. So the older blockchains like Bitcoin, Ethereum, which are all proof of work. Basically, what is happening is that I don't know whether there's a concept of mining. I don't know, people consume electricity to run these blockchain Bitcoin mining stuff. Basically, what happens is there are computers which run that, and that computer tries to solve a hash problem, and that enter into the block. So those computers are called miners. So they solve the puzzle. And that's why what happens is, they say, Bitcoin consumes 3% of the world's electricity. You see a lot of farms in Russia, Ukrainian, they have this huge computer network which runs to do the Bitcoin blockchain. And they do this? Why they do this? Because they try to process the transactions. What are the benefit? Once they process a transaction, they get a few Bitcoin. Earlier they used to get one Bitcoin, but now they get few pieces of Bitcoin. Or even if it's Ethereum, they get few pieces of Ethereum. So that is what is a proof of work blockchain. That is the original technology where people have these large farms, and all the computers do is try to solve this cryptographic puzzle. And once they solve the puzzle, they get a small record, and whoever solves the puzzle gets to write into the block. So what happens is that people try to have a lot of computers together, like powerful data farms, then they can solve it. Even you as an individual can just try to run a computer with the Bitcoin code and try to do some mining. But right now it's going to be very tough to get because the powerful computer takes over. But if there is some newer blockchains like Ethereum or other blockchains, you can still run the computer and start mining. You might not get much, but at least a small, you get, and I don't recommend even using the school or college computer to do it, but just for, to understand the concept, you can try downloading it in Linux and some of the newer blockchains and start mining. So that's one thing. So those are all proof of work concepts. But what happened is that then it is not sustainable because the transaction cost becomes very expensive. Right now, this Ethereum blockchain, if you want to do any transaction, it's going to cost somewhere between $10 to $20. 10 years back or 5 years back, it was only like few cents, but now the price increased because bigger the database came. So now what is happening is the newer blockchains come with proof of stake. The proof of stake, it's not common man. You can't just download. They have certain validators who are done by the blockchain company, and they do that and they get a reward. So with that, the transaction fee is almost nothing. Like, compared to like Ethereum, with the transaction fee is $30, some of the newer blockchains like Algorand and other ones, the cost is like, 1 cent or even less than a cent. Okay. Then there's people talk about hacking, but I think it's not a big thing. You need to have 51% of the capacity to hack, which is very unlikely because it's decentralized and There's no one company or one server farm that can have 50% of the network to hack and take it over. Okay. Okay. So as I said, what is mining? Mining is basically people try to do the blockchain transactions. So there's always these are computer farms that looks for the pool, and once they verify the pool, they get a small part of the blockchain, with a Bitcoin or Ethereum and stuff. Okay, so one of the advantages of unique concept of blockchain is a smart contract. Basically, how does a smart contract works? So it's basically a program, like you can consider as a stored procedure, where that stored procedure gets executed based on certain conditions. Example, if I'm going to sell a house and I'm going to buy a house, then I can have a smart contract. And once the deal is done, then okay, pay this person. So the advantage of these things is that there's no need for a middleman, So you can write a program in a blockchain, it's a smart contract, to get executed based on that. Such a way that there's no need for ambiguity. Okay, example, betting is one good example, Hey, I'm going to bet that India is going to win the World Cup, or, this particular match. And if it wins, automatically I get X number of, dollars or whatever. And the systems are there like that on blockchain, where there's no need for any human being to touch it. It automatically says, okay, this is the contract. The contract is, example, if I get, if this player gets 100 runs, I'm going to bet that I'm going to get a certain amount of dollar. So these systems can work without any manual intervention using smart contract. And there's a lot of use cases for that. I think I'll cover them later. But basically, smart contract is, imagine, like a stored procedure that gets executed when certain conditions are met. So there are a lot of benefits of blockchain, and there are multiple blockchains. As I said, there's a proof of work and proof of stake. You need to see most of the newer blockchains are proof of stake. Okay, and if you look at the blockchain platform benefits, it's there's a smart contract, improved efficiency, you can do fraud prevention, transparency, auditability, and you can performance review. There's a lot of criteria on which blockchain you want to select for a specific type based on cost, architecture. There are popular blockchains like Ethereum, Hyperledger, Corda, and Quorum. Actually, Quorum is from JP Morgan. JP Morgan was saying that, hey, blockchain doesn't Bitcoin, but finally all these banks and everyone are using these blockchains to do. So these are some of the popular ones. And also there are like Oracle, Amazon, IBM, they have blockchain as a service platform. So you can just use their APIs to execute a blockchain. So one of the things, blockchain has come with a lot of stuff. And one of the unique things that have come is the concept of stablecoin. Okay. So if you know, there's a cryptocurrency is a big thing. There are more than 300 to 400, more than 1,000 cryptocurrencies. Basically, what happens is anyone who has a blockchain can create a token. That's why you have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum. You can name, like, you can, there are 1,000 other coins, or you can create your own coin. Like someone created a coin called Dogecoin, just as a funny meme. So now Elon Musk is simply tweeting it, and its price is increasing. So anyone can create a token or a coin. It is not a big deal, but most of the companies have a coin that has some purpose. Like it's like a utility coin, or it's someone people are using it to raise money. So some of the coins are used for transaction. Example, if I want to do a Ethereum transaction, okay, I still need to have, the way I do that is by having Ethereum in my wallet, or powering by Ethereum, or there's a blockchain called Algorand, which is new. So when I want to do a transaction, I need to have that algo, that coin, to do the transaction. So it's like electricity bill. Hey, when I want to do that, and I need to have that specific electricity to do that transaction. So there are a lot of cryptocurrencies. For every blockchain you want to do, you need to have that specific coin to the transaction. So Bitcoin, I'll come to that later. That is like, people hardly do any transaction on Bitcoin because it's so expensive on Ethereum. But the newer blockchain, like, I want to do some transaction, I had to have some of these algos and stuff in my wallet to do the transaction. So coming to stable coins. So then, people were doing it, and people were trying to use, to one of the reasons why crypto was not good is for payments is because it fluctuates. You see Bitcoin price fluctuating, you see Ethereum price fluctuating. So then a lot of companies are saying, I'll come and create a stable coin. Even Facebook is trying to do that. There's an initiative by Indian government also to come with their own digital currency. That's a little different from stable coins. Stable coins are basically, you want to, instead of fluctuating, you want to have one stable price. Okay. So example, there are a lot of stable coins called fiat backed stable coins that always peg to a dollar. So like there's like USDC, Tether, a couple of these stable coins, which is always $1. It is always a dollar. The way they do that is, I'm going to have X number of like $1 billion for this particular stablecoin. I do $1 billion in my bank, and I issue 1 billion stablecoins. So you can send money to or receive money using a blockchain across the world for a fraction of a cost, and it's all gone by a stablecoin. So the reliable, because it's backed up by asset, and some of them are crypto backed up. So instead of having $1 in the bank, I might have, I have this crypto called DAI or Maker, and that is all backed by them. Some are commodity based. You can do it by silver, gold. Some are non-collateralized. It is all done dynamically based on demand and supply. It's all done by algorithms. So these are things to understand. So you all have to go and research this stuff. With this, you get an overview, but actually you have to do your homework to get more details on this one. And one of the very good concept is decentralized finance in using blockchain. You know that traditionally there's, the banks, the governments, you send the money, it goes to a bank and it goes through some payment companies. When I send money to India, there's always so many middlemen and all try to take some cut of it. But with the power of blockchain, I can send the money from me to my dad directly. Because there's no middleman involved. It all goes to the computers, and finally he's going to get that in a wallet, and for almost hardly any transaction cost. So that's called decentralized finance. So this is something very prevalent the last 2 years. A lot of people also used to use that. It's like, imagine like a chit fund in India. Like, hey, you have these people sitting and doing that. That's a good concept of a DeFi. Basically, you can write programs to send money, receive money. It's all done through smart contracts. So there's not many, like a traditional bank. I don't have people. So I have some, Bitcoin or Ethereum. I want to make interest. I can just go put it in some of these decentralized websites. They take it, they give me 10%, 8% interest. And there's no people because it's a smart contract. I give that, it goes to someone and they do that. I get paid. So these are things which are catching up. You guys need to read that. What is decentralized finance? There's great opportunities to build some fantastic products around that. So for asset management, for infrastructure, for digital identity, for insurance. These technologies creating billion-dollar businesses right now. Without and why the banks are really worried what is going to happen to the future. Okay. I'm just taking a time base. Okay. So one other concept I want to explain is central bank digital currency. As you know, China has already done the digital yuan. India is doing coming with the concept. No one wants to have cash. Cash is very painful. The government has to print cash and send to everyone. Instead of that, hey, now everyone has a phone. I can send your payroll or even everything through digital, through your phone. That is what is happening through central bank digital currencies. Government is trying to get everything to digital. There's no need, 5, 10 years, 20 years from now, There's not going to be a concept of cash. No one's going to be carrying cash. It's all going to be in a wallet, and the government is going to send. It's going to control that through a central bank digital currency initiative. So like this is if you go to CBDC tracker, you can see all the countries doing digital currency projects, and the various phases there. Like you say, India is in research, China is in pilot, US is still in development. So these are things when you guys come out of think about this stuff, when you go talk to the government, because you need to help the country also move faster, because India is a little slow on this technology. China's caught up, a lot of other countries are caught up. India is a little slow, and for various reasons. But these are the future. Tomorrow, you're not going to have cash. You're not going to have change. It's all going to be based on digital currency in your wallet, which is equivalent to your rupees or a dollar or a euro. So the US has come with the new law in such a way that instead of sending bank to bank using the SWIFT or the traditional network, I can use stable coins and send money from bank to bank. So this traditionally, if you do a money transfer, it takes 3 days. But with blockchain and digital currency, I can do it in like 2 minutes or even less than near real time. So what blockchain can do, it has impact in almost all the field, from charity to music to insurance to legal to energy. You just have to pick it up and try to imagining and build things. So that again, finally, I want to looking at time wise, I want to wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. So what is Bitcoin? As you know, Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. It is the first invention of the blockchain technology. There's a limited number of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is invented by a person or a group, Satoshi. And Bitcoin is a genesis, and from that, every cryptocurrency was formed. Bitcoin is not blockchain, but Bitcoin uses blockchain technology. Again, Bitcoin, if you look at the pricing, like it was few cents. Today, it is almost $47,000 today. So you can see the rapid rise of Bitcoin. Right now, people are using that as an alternate to gold. It's called a digital gold. People are using that for store, not for transaction. So this is yesterday I just saw the newspaper. I think India is doing a crypto ban. I think that is very bad because probably the government doesn't know that crypto is one big bad word. I know government are threatened by it, but just banning outright, you cannot ban anything because anyone can have a computer and do it. But I think India is trying to do a digital rupees, and that's why governments are saying if people start using Bitcoin and other things as a form of payment, then then what is going to happen to their legal currency? The rupees or dollar, they're worried about it. But again, that is the news in India. I don't have much to say on that, but it's good to know the price of all these coins, what is happening. It's know where the market is heading. And so we do, as a company, we do the payment side. So we accept, platform accepts both digital currency as well as fiat. So someone wants to pay in Bitcoin or Ethereum or a stable coin or Stripe, we enable that in our the new company I found. So last, what I would do is you guys should go and check out this book, IBM Blockchain for Dummies. It's available for free. Just Google it, and you should be able to read that. So that's all I had. That's my time. Thank you.